It's the Bush League Mud Show. It's the Bush League Mud Show. Let's go.
Are you ready?
Make some noise!
Yo, what is going on is another edition of the Bush League Mud Show. Special episode, sort of, episode 25, Slade
PJ.
coming at you on a Friday night, coming fresh off of a night of some SmackDown and some AEW Rampage. We're also going to go through a few of the news and tidbits. Not going to go through every single one because I'll be honest with you, we didn't give a damn about every single one. A lot of them are really, really small and minor, but we'll get to the important ones. And kicking off the show for this week, we've got a former Universal Champion from Vince's company that is set to pretty much debut at Impact Wrestling's Bound for Glory pay-per-view. Were you aware of this, PJ?
Okay, so the rumors have been going around. Is it Bray or is it Braun Strowman? I mean, those were the two names associated with Impact.
Yes, and so we're coming at you on a Friday night. Bound for Glory is going to be this weekend, tomorrow night, as a matter of fact. And because of that, also, you're not going to be getting, for another consecutive week, a Dynamite review out of us because we're coming at you once again on a Friday night. But Bound for Glory is going to be tomorrow night, and the big name that is expected to be making the debut is Adam Scherr, the former Braun Strowman of WWE. He was spotted flying to Vegas, which is going to be the host city for Bound for Glory. And, the report is that they're going to be using the nickname The Titan for him going forward.
Total Rib, the Titan Sports. Yeah.
So just last week, it was reported that Scherr had a meeting with Impact Executive Vice President Scott D'Amore in Michigan at the Motor City Comic Con, and it had been widely documented that Impact had some strong interest in signing him. There was also, of course, the rumors that they were looking at Bray Wyatt, and there was some mutual interest on both sides there as well. So it looks like for sure the former Strowman and Impact, they will be working. Scherr, of course, he got released. He was part of the budget cuts. He was part of the June sweep of the financial endeavors that Khan of WWE and Vince McMahon that they implemented. His last match that came when he worked the triple threat match for the WWE Championship. That was back in May, I want to say, at the Backlash pay-per-view. WrestleMania Backlash. We got to put some respect on that name, but it was him, Bobby Lashley, and Drew McIntyre. So since he's been let go,
he's been living his best life.
Living his best life. He looks absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
Chiseled, doesn't even look natural. Not saying that he's doing anything that's unnatural, but he looks amazing. He's worked only one match, which was against EC3 at the Free to Narrative 2 show. And what are you thinking? I mean, huge get for Impact?
Right situation, too, I think, because if he went to AEW, again, AEW has been known now as like the workers. And they don't know how to do things with their special attractions. They're big guys. So I think going over to Impact, fresh slate, they can try to do something with him. He's the big name there, obviously. I mean, you got Cass, so that'll be an interesting dynamic. Two big guys, and hey, it's good for Impact to pull it off, and for him, probably creatively or whatnot. Again, for the guy that said he wouldn't leave WWE, maybe he was thinking of that too. If he goes to Impact, maybe in a couple years, if he comes back to New York, be a little less from the old man will say, okay, that's fine. You went there instead of AEW.
Yeah, he was also on Busted Open Radio earlier in the week, and he had made some comments. He said that WWE, he felt, had turned him into a corporate monster, and how there was always this pressure to always be on. What are you expecting for him in Impact? Will it be a more of a relief or more of some stress for him that he'll have a little bit more free reign? I would imagine an Impact, unlike WWE, where everybody knows it's one man, one voice, one sound that resonates through that locker room in terms of what gets put on out there in front of that television screen or in front of the live crowd. Is this something that Braun can thrive on, or has he been so used? Because this is the only company he's ever worked. He's never worked the Indies. He came straight in, Performance Center. He only knows one way in pro wrestling of doing things.
I think this is good for him. Get away from the writers, because he was so heavily scripted. A big guy like that, I want to see what he can do on the mic, and I think he can do a pretty good job because, just
remember the WrestleMania delay?
Yeah.
When Fantastic. They just have them wing it on the fly and do promos and just be themselves. I mean, he came across as one of the better ones. Everyone came across great because it wasn't so scripted. It was more organic, and he definitely jumped off as like, geez, when you don't have him reciting lines and he's just being Adam Scherr just through Braun Strowman, sounds pretty damn good and convincing.
And I know here in our state of great Wisconsin, he comes and visits, and we'll see him do interviews on like some of the local news or radio and whatnot, and you hear him and you're like, damn, it's a real likable guy, and that's a whole lot different from what they're presenting to him on TV. And I want to hear more of him. He has a great personality, and I think this is a great step for him to open it up more.
Yeah. WWE reportedly has some post-draft plans for Hit Row that they have now released, or at least that they have leaked, for Hit Row to receive a push on the SmackDown brand. We'll get into that a little later in terms of what went down on SmackDown. Hit Row made their debut, and we were actually very impressed with how they did it.
Yeah.
But more on that a little later. WWE, the draft changes, they officially go into effect. Now official after SmackDown on Fox episode. They have been hyping that a new era for the Blue brand was going to begin as superstars were coming over from NXT and Raw. And so in regards to Hit Row, word is that Top Dollar, AJ Francis, he's going to be pushed as a singles superstar on SmackDown. We kind of assume that they had some type of plans for him, right? They included him on the television show. You watched it.
Yeah, the Treasure Show. He was the guy. Yeah, he would go around.
And he's got an athletic background, football player, former football player.
Yes.
I thought he looked impressive. I thought they made him look good on SmackDown earlier tonight, but the plan is for him to be pushed as a single superstar on the brand. That's according to PW Insider. Ashanti, the Adonis, and Isaiah Swerve Scott will also they're expected to be used as a tag team. This is the same Swerve Scott that we put the North American title on, and he only defended it once.
Yeah.
He only defended it once. People forget about that, but it looks like they're not ready for a solo push for Swerve Scott. Yes, it looks like it's going to be Scott and Adonis as a tag team.
Who knows? Because they switched it up tonight. That plan.
Because we had Top Dollar
we'll get
and
to
Swerve.
it, but
who are, if you're going to have a tag team out of the group, it should be those two.
Yes.
Hit Row, as of right now, the plans is that they will remain together as a group with B-Fab, Brianna Brandy apparently working the women's division. So, she needs some work.
But
I like her presentation. I love her on the mic. But she needs some work in the ring. But as you said, they need some fresh faces.
They need some fresh faces now, Sasha and, Charlotte, top names now on that Blue brand. Going to need some new blood up and coming here.
Also, WWE talking more about post-draft stuff. They, as everyone now remembers, they split up the tag team of Tegan Nox and Shotzi Blackheart. They never got their tag team title shot they earned.
Never got that shot. They probably split the tank in half, too, so who the hell knows gets that.
Half for everything. Yeah. Well, word now is that Shotzi will be a heel on SmackDown while Tegan Nox will remain a babyface on Raw. Kind of backwards.
That is backwards.
I think that's a little backwards. Your thoughts on the whole Tegan Nox, Shotzi Blackheart thing? They shouldn't have been a tag team to begin with.
No. Yeah, you just hit it on the head.
You just threw them together.
You hit it on the head. They got the wrong people going the wrong roles. Tegan Nox was a fantastic heel kind of in NXT. Shotzi was always the baby face in NXT, and people remember her as that. So now you're going to try to make – how the hell are you going to make her a heel after – you get rid of the tank, obviously, but with her personality and everything, I don't see
It's tough to hate that. Yeah. Current plans also is calling for Xia Li that they ran a vignette for during SmackDown to be a babyface on the brand.
Really?
Yes, and Mia Yim will be working also as a babyface on the Raw brand. As far as the tag team division, there's also some plans for another new tag team to join Raw coming out of the draft. Apollo Crews, he got drafted by the Red brand. He was on SmackDown. He's with Commander Aziz, and who was appearing as a unnecessary muscle. But now that there's talk, they're going to have Crews and Aziz work together as a tag team moving forward.
So he continues to swim in obscurity after it looked like they were going to give him a little run.
Did a great job, gave him the accent, repackaged him, made him the Intercontinental Champion. And as soon as he lost it, as soon as he lost the Big E, it was pretty much downhill from there.
Yeah, they had nothing for him after that.
Former employee of the WWE, Renee Paquette, she gave her recount of a story about Vince McMahon that this had to do with Vince McMahon yelling at her in regards to Tyson Fury. Vince was very upset that Renee Paquette actually referred to Tyson Fury as the fucking nickname that he's been going by for years, the Gypsy King.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just in case if you
of
just
the Saudi deal, huh?
Well,
Yeah.
if you're brand new to watching professional wrestling, so the now two-time world heavyweight boxing champ, he had a little short stint with WWE back in 2019, and it saw him take on Braun Strowman that year at Crown Jewel a couple of years ago. Well, she was speaking to the MMA Hour, and she recalled how Vince was screaming at her because she kept calling Tyson Fury by the nickname that he goes by instead of referring to him as the lineal champion.
Oh, God.
Yes, this is real stuff. Renee said, I was throwing to a package, blah, 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 something, something. The Gypsy King, Tyson Fury, threw the package. And he, Vince McMahon, is in my ear. He goes, you fucking ruined it. He's screaming at me, telling me that I ruined the segment because I did not refer to Tyson Fury as the lineal champion, that I referred to him as the Gypsy King, Tyson Fury, throughout the package. So as everyone knows, and people that have worked for Vince before, he prefers things to be presented a certain way.
Did they trademark the lineal? I mean, did they trademark that gimmick?
Well, he was very adamant that it was used, and he was not happy with Renee because she didn't respond to him. He was in the ear.
Yeah.
You know, we've heard the stories, too, about people that when they get sick of Vince being in their ear and yelling, they're trying to get their shit across on the screen because we're live, pal. Yeah. They will sometimes, Taz has said he's taken the earpiece out before and just told Vince, we must have some audio issues. But, he was trying to get Renee's attention. She didn't respond to him, so he demanded that she acknowledge that she heard him. So now we know where the Roman Reigns acknowledge me gimmick has come from. But just really unfortunate. She went on to say, so he's yelling at me about this, and I'm looking down at my notes. Maybe I'm looking at Samoa Joe taking in the information in my ear, but he thinks I'm ignoring him, Renee added. So he yells at me again. Do you hear me? Acknowledge that you hear me. And he wanted me to look into the camera and be like, yes, sir, I hear you. I understand you. I apologize. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
and if you're wondering why Renee Paquette probably left, it wasn't probably just the contract running out. She probably for a while had been thinking, when my contract gets close, I'm probably not going to renew. I'm probably...
this was 2019.
Yes.
I can't imagine, especially with McAfee there now. I don't know who, you hear some things that obviously the old man's trying to pipe him through. But, you also have those Fox execs saying, we want him to be kind of the loose cannon. We want him to be him. Yeah. So I wonder what that dynamic is. But with this Renee story, I mean, I'm sure it's the same deal.
Well, she did go on to say she revealed that the non-compete clause is now officially over and she's free and clear to appear in other promotions. She said, although she's not really
how long was that damn clause for her?
Because
she left a while ago, over a year.
Yeah. Well, she's just throwing it out there just in case that it's over. She said she's open for business if AEW wants to. Yeah. Well, that's my thing. I'd rather see her on TNT Hockey.
Yep. Yeah.
She's covered that a lot over the years. Carmella, we'll go over this briefly. Carmella says that she will never be properly respected in WWE because of how she looks. She was on the After the Bell podcast with her boo thing, Corey Graves, and that's where she made those comments. She was talking about NXT 2.0 and people that she expects to be huge stars in the future. She thinks without a doubt Braun Breaker will be the top guy eventually in WWE. But the fact that she said that she feels that she will never be properly respected because of how she looks, PJ, maybe it's because we repackaged her, made her look great, as she always has, and we have her lose.
Yes.
Maybe that's why she has no credibility.
Kind of sounds like she's working the gimmick, though, with the beautiful woman thing right here, and that's why I have no respect. I don't know. It's the way they brought her in was pretty good with, the deal with the belt and James. Well, God damn it. how he would climb up and cheat for her too.
Ellsworth
deal. So I mean that was clever. Obviously, the ultimate way they brought her in with Enzo and Cass, but they got so far away from all of that stuff. They've repackaged her to this model thing that we've seen now for the last 7 years. They've tried it on like 3 different women now with Emelena and I mean everyone else, it seems like. So here we are with a third try at this, and I can see why it's not working again.
No. We're gonna get on a little of some sad news. It's not too bad, but something that went down earlier in the week as former WWE legend Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah.
He ended up being rushed to the hospital where he had emergency surgery. That would have been on Wednesday. He's 67 years old, Hall of Famer. And his wife had shared the devastating news with fans on social media, posting a photo of Duggan. He was laying in the hospital bed. It was actually really, really sad. Not really sure exactly what it was. Haven't speculated or anything like that. But she was asking for prayers and for both Jim and the doctors as the emergency surgery. They had it pretty early in the morning. And then she also reported when he was out of surgery, back in the room. She said everything went well. And there's another photo of Hacksaw with a big smile on his face, giving that big old thumbs up like we know back from when we were kids with the 2x4 and the tough guy and all that stuff. So, the latest hospitalization for Duggan wasn't made clear, but he's had a number of health issues over the last several years. He got admitted into the ICU back in 2018. That was over an irregular heartbeat, and then he ended up having surgery on his heart back in 2019. And then he was back in the hospital again September of the same year with a severe infection. And then even long before that, back in 98, which he would have still been doing some work for WCW at the time, he had been diagnosed with kidney cancer.
That's right, yeah. And during that late run there, yeah.
Yeah, so best wishes to Duggan and his family and a speedy recovery. SmackDown, WWE SmackDown. This is one night after Crown Jewel in Saudi Arabia. They were back in the States.
They made it all right.
Yeah, so
no tarmac issues.
Short work. We saw quite a few people from the SmackDown brand that were on that Crown Jewel pay-per-view. They were there in SmackDown, Wichita, Kansas, baby. So this was
travel didn't do them any. The booking team didn't help them out. You didn't do anything on the East Coast to make it easy for these guys. You put them in smack dab in the middle of America.
No, this was the big story coming out of SmackDown during the night. That was Brock Lesnar appearing to attack Roman Reigns. They start this show off with Reigns, as they do. You start your show off with your world champ. He came out and they were able to muster out a good 20-something minutes out of Reigns just kind of standing in the ring. He cut a promo. Paul Heyman looked shook than ever.
Yep. Why
very
did you
confused.
Threw the belt in between us, Paul. I mean, he did a great job doing that and all that.
So Paul was very, stunned, very silent, no words, and Roman cut the promo and said that he was not going to be leaving until Brock Lesnar showed up. Now, of course, everyone was thinking this was the very predictable, the chicken shit heel world champ would, of course, call out the challenger when people don't expect that he will be there because Brock is on a limited deal, just like always. It's a buy per appearance, and he just worked the big event at Crown Jewel. But we go to commercial break, we come back, he's still hijacking the show, and then all of a sudden, boom, that music hits, and here comes Brock.
Yeah.
And they get in the ring, and Brock is, for the most part, kind of dominating Roman once again, get to the outside, and he attempts to smash a camera into his face. He hits the post on the outside. Roman's able to duck and get out of the way. Gets him in the ring. He's ready to F5 Roman, and then we have the Usos
coming down
for the rescue. They all escape, and then that wasn't the end of it. We've got Brock Lesnar then attacking every ref in sight. I don't understand. When everyone gets jumped in the back, we don't see anyone helping.
No one.
We see some of the most egregious, heinous acts in the ring, usually done by Randy Orton or Seth Rollins or whatever. No one ever walks out or tries to stop these guys. But the one guy that you don't want any piece of, that you don't ever want to break up anything, Brock Lesnar, we get the entire ref crew that comes out to handle business.
and he's licking his chops because he gets to throw these guys wherever the hell he wants, and he did again. And, the whole storyline here with the suspension thing, it's like we've done this now a couple times with Brock. I mean, that's the only thing I really hated about this thing is, we're going back to that again.
Yes, and we're jumping ahead a little bit. So as what you're talking about is he's attacking the refs,
Yes.
WWE officials. We go to commercial. We come back. There's Adam Pearce. He's in the ring, and he's saying that Brock will be indefinitely suspended, which I'll say this. I have no problem with because we know Brock is on a very limited schedule to begin with.
Yeah.
So it buys you time to keep him off of TV until the Rumble.
Yes.
Which is when we would expect
sense.
Brock to come back. But, I will go ahead and I'll let you take it from there as far as the whole Brock thing.
Yeah, I mean, that was just we've seen it before, though, the 30-day suspension and all that, because we know eventually he's going to come back. But I guess, obviously he F5 Pierce. The music hit after the first one, and Brock said, "No, pal, we're going to do another one." And I bet backstage Vince was laughing his ass off when Pierce's pants ripped.
Yes.
They showed the pants, and I'm sure, God damn, pal, that's funny shit.
Yes.
I bet Vince loved that.
Yeah, Pierce indefinitely suspends Lesnar. Lesnar comes out, and he gets into the ring, and he says, I'm not sure that I heard that correctly. What did you say? And as he's choking,
yes.
the tire is he's lifting Pierce up, and Pierce, to all credit to him, he said it again.
Yeah, he did.
Said it again. You gotta, if you're gonna be the part, then you better play the part. So Pierce says it again. And, Lesnar shoves him into a corner before lifting him up, giving him the F5, gave him a couple. And then Lesnar asked him to repeat himself again, which Pierce was unable to. It's kind of hard to get any words out of anyone that just took 2 F5s.
Yes, exactly. I was wondering what Michael Cole was thinking. He was probably having bad flashbacks from a couple of years ago when Brock took his ass out in one of these angles.
Yeah. Again, this is about as good as you could do. Lesnar is a part-time performer. You need reasons to get him off of TV for a while and pay-per-view events in between appearances and stuff like that. So this was effective. I thought it did what it needed to do. Now, if we see Lesnar again before the Rumble, then we got questions and we need answers. But this is something to just simply make him disappear and allow Reigns to work other people until we have those two meet again. You just did a draft. Wouldn't make any sense to not use some of those new people, the McIntyres, the Jeff Hardys, those guys that you can feed to Roman to make him still look strong as a champ, as that final boss before we have him and Lesnar go at it again.
Well, and it sounds like the Survivor Series thing is going to be champ versus champ because again, later on in the show, we would hear something about that. But so the stopgap for now is going to be Big E coming up in November at Survivor Series. So, it buys you time with Lesnar down the road. The only thing is that what do you do? Do you even have him defend it in December? Because, everyone's going to be waiting for that Royal Rumble matchup. So,
with what else happened on WWE SmackDown? Well, we had Drew McIntyre. This was an open challenge. Drew McIntyre, first SmackDown season premiere for SmackDown. So McIntyre comes out, and I will say I didn't mind the open challenge. However, I felt that although we know that McIntyre and Reigns will go at it eventually down the road, he's not going to be in the world title picture anytime soon, nor do we need McIntyre in that picture. So I felt that this was a good opponent to have McIntyre work an angle with for the next 6 to 8 or 12 weeks in Sami Zayn, especially with Zayn most likely heading out at the beginning of the new year. But anyways, we end up having this open challenge. Zayn comes out to answer it. He ends up eating a Claymore. And, McIntyre basically just looking to test out the SmackDown roster on his first night on the brand. He did that successfully against Sami Zayn. PJ, your thoughts on the whole thing with McIntyre and Zayn?
Yeah, I'm with you. That could have been a good program, with the contract situation, too. You could have used that for a couple weeks here, got him through. But, it looks like Again, the old WWE thing. A guy is on his way out. Let's just continue to beat the hell out of him and make him look weak.
Yeah. We end up having the coronation, the big, extravagant coronation for Xavier Woods. Your new king of the ring. We didn't think, or at least I didn't think.
Yeah.
I was hoping that he would not because there's anything against Xavier. Everyone loves Xavier Woods, but my thing was, unless we have plans to do big things with Xavier finally as a solo competitor and maybe have him work the heel king gimmick, then we figured that that Balor would win and kind of go from Prince to the king and kind of tell that story, and it gives Xavier somebody to work. Finally, without, kind of give the spotlight on him. We've seen Kofi have his day. Big E's having his day right now. We've never fully gotten any spotlight on Xavier as just a, personality-wise, yes, but as far as a competitor in the ring, we haven't really gotten that, because he's always been tag teaming with either Big E or Kofi, but they did that, and I know you probably annoyed with me, but I kept coming to you, and not to me, but I kept coming to you, and I'm like, Xavier's got to hit him with the baton at some point. He's got to hit him with the crown.
Not yet.
You say you sit on it a little bit.
I think you sit on it, and it's like the poison of the crown seeps into his head.
Right.
I think it is coming. I do. I'm with you. I think the heel turn is coming. Obviously, I think it's on Kofi, too. But I think you wait a couple weeks at least. Then you show little signs of chink in the arm where he's better than everyone else. He's better than Kofi. Then I think that's where
So
it
you
happens.
want the subtle heel turn. You want the slow transformation because I was thinking, the New Day represents just a universally loved faction, one of the most loved factions. If you really break down some of their top factions over the years, you got to put the New Day up there in terms of being universally respected and loved by all the fans. They come out, everybody, whether it be grown-ass men, the women, the kids, they all love them.
Yeah.
But I was looking more for the heel turn that just came out of nowhere.
Okay.
Where you didn't expect it, and you really get Xavier over as the asshole heel king. This crown has immediately gone to his head. As I put it, the Seth Rollins Shield, oh shit, you didn't see it coming moment.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking more of.
Yeah. I don't know if they could pull that off, though, again. That'd be tough to do. Because like you said, that Rollins moment was an all-timer. So I don't know if people would believe it as much. That's the only thing.
Yeah. Mansoor defeated Mustafa Ali via the pinfall with the almighty roll-up, the very lethal roll-up in this company. Mansoor, that's 2 straight nights now. He beat him at Crown Jewel and beat him again.
All right.
As he should have. It wouldn't have made any sense to. This isn't going to be a long-term program.
No.
Why book it 50-50? And you've already shit on Ali anyway. So
he continued to. When's his contract up?
Yes.
At this point.
Now we get into the stuff that we were talking about earlier in the podcast. Hit Row. They came out. They ran a video vignette. They ran multiple video vignettes throughout the night of people that were going to be coming to SmackDown, as they did with Raw earlier in the week. And Hit Row, they come out, all 4. They get on the mic. They cut their shtick. Thought it was a little too long, drawn out, a little too much. At that point, I was ready to actually see them get in the ring. And I'm thinking, well, fuck, what tag team are we going to have them shit on tonight? It wasn't anyone on the current roster. We actually gave Hit Row a jobber tag team to work with.
I thought we had all the jobbers sourced out somewhere.
Why can't we do that with everybody
I know, that's
that we
always
want
been
to make
our
a big deal about?
Yeah, if you're building up new talent, make them get some wins against no names. That's how it used to be in the old days.
Now, how is this explained by McAfee that one of the guys, the guy that started off in the ring, had won, 18 in a row at the Wichita County Fair? What the hell, the Wichita Fairgrounds? What was this? These guys, I'll tell you, I don't know who those 2 guys were. They were clearly 2 local enhancement talent jobbers, but they played their role very well. It was very old school, jobberish stuff. I loved their mannerisms. I loved everything. And the tag team, it was Top Dollar, and it was Swerve Scott, and they made those guys look like $1 million. Really made Top Dollar look strong, and it got it done.
Yes. Yeah, and that's what you got to do with this group. You have to build them up. So it was refreshing. We were both like, it's finally They're using enhancement talent to get a new group over. Let's keep doing this for a couple more weeks here.
Yeah. Happy Corbin, you talk about go home heat, man.
And the same program they had just a couple weeks. I mean, they haven't separated him or Shinsuke. I mean, it's the same damn program without the crown now.
Yes, it's without the crown, and we repackaged both, although the Shinsuke shit was very short-lived because now Xavier Woods is the actual king of the ring. The Happy Corbin, we figured they would screw this up. They can't help themselves. Yep. They screwed this thing up. But anyways, Happy Corbin was able to get his win because he actually hit his fucking end of days. You talk about, as I always say,
you have the record on this of saying
the most protected finisher in the company. It is Sheamus's kick, the Brogue kick, and that damn end of days. No one really kicks out of that.
You're right. Now that
I've seen a few guys kick out of the Claymore, but that damn end of days, I couldn't tell you the last time anyone kicked out, and I think that's...
Reigns, I think, was maybe the last one.
Right, but I think that's cool. At least Corbin's got that going for him.
That's all.
Yeah, Madcap Moss and Rick Boogs, they briefly got into a little confrontation at ringside. That caused a distraction that cost Nakamura the match. Also, we had at the very end, we had Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair do the bullshit segment, the exchanging the belts. And I told you earlier in the week that I don't want the exchange belts. We got to find an excuse to have them go at it to unify the belt for the foreseeable future because as of right now, you are thin. There's a huge divide in terms of who's over and who still has some stuff yet to prove and that division before we can have that two belts thing again. Flair, she got drafted to SmackDown. She was, she held the Raw Women's title. Lynch was in the opposite situation, going the opposite direction. The two had a little title exchange ceremony. They jawed back and forth. Becky was being a little poor sport about it. She threw her belt down for Charlotte to pick up. Charlotte actually, like a true, elegant, classy champ, actually handed the belt over to Sonya Deville. They're going back and forth. And then all of a sudden, Flair decides to open her mouth and do what's right, but I'm thinking to myself, you're already a champ. I guess Charlotte wants to really be known as a true champ because she was the one that initially threw down the challenge for the winner-take-all match. And it was going great until we unnecessarily got this fucking thing interrupted by Sasha Banks, who ended the whole show by knocking Flair from the ring, and Lynch said she would see one of the women at Survivor Series. So
well, it was funny, though, with Sasha coming down and calling Charlotte a bitch, and then Charlotte's like, this is a PG show. That was a good response by Charlotte on that to kind of make fun of that a little bit, but...
That is your WWE SmackDown. Coming off Crown Jewel and being they were able to get Reigns and Brock and some of the guys and gals back over from Saudi. Well, we only had, we had Zelina Vega and Doudrop. That they were the only women that worked there, right? Yeah. So, but other than that, for the most part, they got everybody. The most important people they needed on this show, they got them on the show. And I didn't think it was a bad SmackDown. I give it a solid B.
Yeah, it was. For what it was, season premiere and all that with the new rosters, it was pretty good. It started out on fire, a little lull here and there, but, some things to kind of get excited about a little bit down there.
Quick AEW news for the Dynamite that unfortunately we're not going to be doing a review for because it's going to be tomorrow. But anyways, they decided to take advantage of it being preempted on Saturday, Wednesday night time slot. The usual Wednesday night time slot, but just for tomorrow night. Speaking on Busted Open Radio, Tony Khan, he announced at AEW for the special Dynamite that's going to be airing for Saturday night. They're going to be airing a special college American football themed countdown show ahead of Dynamite. It's going to be very, kind of like a college game day, a Fox noon kickoff.
Yeah, so the guy that's lost 20 straight games until about 2 weekends ago, he's going to be in charge of college football and tell me what I should be watching for and liking on this college football pre-show.
Yeah, well, we saw what Big E recently was a guest for the Big Noon kickoff.
What did Big E do? He played 4 years at Iowa as defensive tackle.
All right. Should we go ahead and just run down?
I'm just saying, what the hell are they trying? Do they really think they're going to pop a rating doing a college pregame show before Dynamite? This is like the buy-in for the free damn show.
We're just trying to get the people warmed up. Would you like me to just run down real quick this Dynamite from Orlando?
Yes.
The card right now is what we have. We're going to give you on free TV Cody Rhodes versus Malachi Black.
Yeah.
We're going to give you Bryan Danielson versus Dustin Rhodes in an AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament match.
That's the problem, right? Again, two New York guys they're putting against each other. We've seen it. That's a problem.
And a match I'm actually wouldn't mind. I'm actually looking forward to this. I wish they would work a longer program without the other elements involved with Suzuki and Moxley, but we're going to get an AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament matchup, Lance Archer versus Eddie Kingston.
Yeah, that makes sense. Those two going at it, they've been, like you said, they've been kind of crossroads at each other with the tag match thing, but both of them can go at it. So that should be a good one coming up for this tournament, which, again, I don't understand it since Hangman's got the chip that he can cash in any time, but we have to have a tournament now.
All right, we're going to go ahead and run down for you AEW Rampage. Excalibur, also joined by Taz, Ricky Starks, and Chris Jericho. Our opening match, Orange Cassidy with Chuck Taylor coming out versus Powerhouse Hobbs with Hook. This is a world title eliminator tournament match. Cassidy showcasing the taped ribs from the match that stemmed from the casino ladder match from a couple of weeks ago. So he's still selling that. Yep. We had Matt Hardy being shown sitting ringside for this one. Hobbs, he had Cassidy on the outside, slammed his back against the metal barrier. Hobbs then wrapped Cassidy around the post and focused on the injured ribs. We got back inside the ring. Hobbs taking some advantage, hit him with some suplexes, some clotheslines, and all of that. But at the end, we had Hobbs charging into Cassidy while he was in the corner. Ref told him to break. Hobbs picked up the ref, drove him into the opposite corner. Hook then comes over, tried to tell Hobbs to calm down. Cassidy then came up from behind, got the mousetrap for the win. So there you were. A little less than 10 minutes on this match. I think it was maybe about 8-9 minutes, but served its purpose. We knew who was going to win. Orange Cassidy moving on in the tournament.
How can they do that? You have Hobbs coming off a good match with CM Punk. So it looked like you were going to start elevating this guy, and now you have him beat by the 120-pound Roman Reigns wannabe Superman punch guy.
Yeah. We had Tony Schiavone. He was in the ring. He introduced Alex Abrahantes and Penta El Cerro Miedo. The crowd, they were chanting for Penta. And they immediately noticed two people at the ringside wearing the same green mask that FTR had recently wore on Dynamite. They went out to check it out and take the mask off. Turns out that it was not FTR. It was two posers at ringside, but then from behind, they get attacked by both FTR and Tully Blanchard on the outside. So there you go.
Edge must have called in the two fake guys, returning the favor for helping him out at the house a couple weeks ago.
We had Britt Baker on this show. Wasn't really too wild by this match. This match actually went longer than the first, but it was Britt Baker who was victorious over Anna Jay. This match ended with Britt Baker continuing to put the lockjaw maneuver on Jay as the match was already over, and then in a very fucking sloppy way, as always, Tay Conti running out to give the slowest reacting kick to Britt Baker. And then Baker rolls out, and then Tay Conti raises the belt above her head. So I'm guessing this is where we're going. The next challenger for Britt Baker is going to be Tay Conti. Is that right?
That's what we're looking at here. But, yeah, this match didn't do too much. It didn't help anyone, I don't think, really.
Tomorrow's Dynamite card that got shown, and they, threw in there the additional matches for Malachi and Cody. That's going to be a world title eliminator tournament match. Participants in the TBS Championship tournament, that was also announced as well. 4 women that are going to be receiving some first-round buys. That's going to be Thunder Rosa, Jade Cargill, Nyla Rose, and Chris Statlander. The remaining participants also got named in this. Some of them that we'll throw out there: Anna Jay, Jamie Hayter, The Bunny, Red Velvet, Serena Deeb. So it was all that. And then
Ruby Soho didn't get a bye, even though she's been in the title picture the last 2 months.
Right. She did not get a bye. Then we got Tony Schiavone playing the role of Mark Henry for the week. It's just not the same with Mark Henry, not doing that awkward main event build-up, with the split screen. I don't know. I mean, Tony did Mark's spiel, his shtick, but it's not the same if Mark's not there.
Not with the big smile and getting ready for the main event.
No, this was to get ready for the main event of Andrade versus Pac, and the Andrade, man, we got to get this guy, someone that can cut a promo to make him look like $1 million. We know he can work.
Yeah.
I don't need him talking.
Well, we had the guy, but he had to go back to filming Young
promo,
Rock.
It was like bird shit. It was all over the place. I didn't understand.
We had Chavo there, but now he had to go back to film some Young Rock, so now we got nothing again.
We're not going to go through move for move in this match, but the match, for the most part, it was pretty high impact, back and forth, a lot of high spots, as you would expect out of these two guys. They ended the show about a 15-minute match. Lights go out of nowhere. We get Malachi Black in the ring. He has nothing to do with this angle whatsoever. He sprays the black mist into the face of Pac, and he goes to the outside to grab a chair as Andrade holds him. They're going to put him down. Then out of nowhere, we get Arn Anderson coming down the ramp. He takes his fake handgun, pulls the trigger at Black, and then Cody Rhodes jumps in the ring. This is the biggest pop that I've seen for Cody Rhodes in over a year. Two guys that have nothing to do with this match. And, I get it. They're facing each other in the Eliminator tournament, but still they have nothing to do with this match. And then as soon as Rampage was over and we saw Rhodes to the top, we know exactly why Cody and Malachi showed up on this show. It was to keep you tuned in to watch a rerun of a show that we don't give a fuck for.
Yeah, the whole Malachi thing, too. They've been forcing it to try to get the booze on him. He finally got the booze when he kicked Pac. But, again, the Arn Anderson gun thing was, if that's his new signature, I mean, I'm for that. I bet you popped hard when you saw that.
Well, I think everybody popped hard. That was your Rampage review. We went through it lightning quick for you. That's episode 25 of the Bush League Mud Show. Slade,
PJ,
be sure to like and subscribe wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Social media, you catch us there as well. We'll follow back, we promise, at Bush League MS Pod. Episode 25, that's a wrap. We'll holler at you next week.